Welcome to our daily reflection for this Tuesday, March 26th. And as we continue through Holy Week, the focus is Jesus Christ. And so the scriptures that the church gives us is inviting us to meditate and reflect on our Lord Jesus Christ and his experience in his last few days. And we start again with one of the servant songs of Isaiah, in Isaiah 49, just like we had yesterday. And here again, we get this description about the servant. And what's beautiful is that the servant knows that he's been called from birth by the Lord for a special mission. And he's been given this ability to be articulate. And of course, Isaiah was very articulate. And of course, Jesus will be known for his teaching. And then he goes on and says, it seems that the servant will toil and work and labor in vain, but his reward is with the Lord. And that's a great lesson. In other words, Jesus isn't laboring, and any servant of the Lord shouldn't labor to see immediate results. The results and the reward will come from our Father in heaven in time, and maybe in heaven too, maybe not even in this world. And then he goes on to say that his mission for the servant is that he regather the lost children of Jacob, the tribes of Israel. He wants to regather them. But also, God says, that's too small of a task for my servant. I'm going to give him even a bigger one, to be a light to the nations. And so here we are amidst the nations as Gentiles, and we realize that this word and this work of the servant has borne fruit, and he has been a light to the nations. And many of us amidst the nations have been able to see the light and walk by it. And so we see this prophecy by Isaiah fulfilled in our own lives, in our own faith journey, right? And then we have Psalm 71, which again, read as a psalm spoken by our Lord Jesus Christ, because it's about him. And he's taking refuge. Here's Jesus in his human nature, praying to the Father because he's struggling and he knows he's going to be oppressed and opposed by enemies. And he asks God to rescue him from the hand of the wicked. And of course, we're going to hear a lot about the hand of the wicked in the gospel reading, because it'll be Jesus reclining at table, and we're to reflect today on the fact that he will be betrayed. He foretells his betrayal. And this is important. Jesus foretells the betrayal. In fact, he even names who his betrayer is, naming Judas Iscariot to John, the beloved disciple, and Peter, so that they know. And Jesus predicts, he knows, and that's important so that we know that Jesus is not out of control, that events don't get away from him and someone turns against him and he dies. He is the Messiah and he is the Lord. He is God. And so he knows that he's going to be betrayed, and yet he endures it. That's what's so remarkable at two levels. One, so afterwards the disciples remember that Jesus predicted this, that he was prophetic, and that his word was fulfilled, and so that they learned to trust Jesus. And secondly, we see that God himself, who's all-powerful, endures betrayal. Have you ever had somebody, a close friend, a close associate, betray you, turn against you, work against you, think that you were bad, and turn against you? How hurtful was that? How painful was it to have perhaps a family member or a friend or a colleague turn against you and work against you and speak against you? And just think about that pain and hurt. And here is Jesus in the gospel story with one of the 12 that he's been intimately mentoring and discipling for the last 3 years, who shared in all of his meals and in all of his journeys and all of his trials. And that disciple turns against Jesus. And gives Jesus over to his enemies. He goes on the side of the enemies of Jesus. That's pretty astonishing. And then the best that Jesus' best friends can do, Peter says, Lord, I want to go with you wherever you go. And Jesus says, you can't go with me now, but you will follow later. And then, Peter then announces and he boasts, I'll die for you, Jesus. There's no place I'll keep following you no matter what. And then Jesus has to reveal another truth prophetically. Just as he foretells Judas's betrayal, he now foretells that Peter will deny him. So you have Judas's betrayal and Peter's denial. Jesus' best friend here, Peter, and his leader, will even deny that he even knows Jesus. And so here we have what every Mass mentions at the key moment. On the night he was betrayed. In other words, Jesus gives himself in love, in spite of the fact that we turn on Jesus and betray him and deny him. And so that's a remarkable thing for us to meditate on. The Church is inviting us to think about Jesus and how he feels being betrayed and denied, and yet he goes forward to make himself a gift in love. That is remarkable. It's a remarkable and unconditional love that should give us hope and faith. May the Lord bless and keep you.
This daily reflection is brought to you thanks to the generous support of the Mission Circle. Join the Mission Circle to help Catholics worldwide understand, live, and share their faith. Sign up at missioncircle.org today.